Ahoy! A third wave of bans related to the character transfers was lifted, but things did not go as announced or as planned, and you should probably care about this no matter if you think these people should be banned or shouldn't be banned. Because odds are it very likely affects you as well. So, first we have the official statement from New World Game Status. They said that temporary suspensions related to the world transfers have been lifted, and based on the outcome of further investigations, some suspensions have been made permanent. These suspensions apply to those who took part in activities that demonstrate clear intent to exploit in order to gain an advantage and disrupt world economies. That is partially true, but also partially not the case. They apologize for taking so long, and then they say that if you've been locked in between January 21st and February 3rd, you will get some token of appreciation. This should include, based on the timeline, the people that were actually banned as well. The items that you're getting is 1 box of warding, 2 combat boxes, 1 premium food chest, 1 elite combat box, and 15,000 faction tokens. This is just season pass track stuff that's not really very useful. It's just a few consumables and whatnot, so nothing major you're getting here. And this can be claimed on February 18. What's much more important though are the things that didn't happen. One of the really important statements about all of this was items and coin traded between players or put into company balances by those who took part in the unintended transfers are or were removed. That is not true. There is a portion of items and of gold that has been removed. Primarily the ones that are easily trackable. We're talking about items that are very expensive, like prismatics for example, or trades that are above a certain threshold, whatever this threshold may be. I don't know, I can't tell you for sure what it is, but certain degrees of trade would get your trade reverted and potentially also removed. I can with 100% certainty tell you that that's not the case for everything. It seems that smaller sums of gold as well as lower tier resources are just not detected in these reverts. For example, there are cases of people being able to bring Asmodium or Orichalcum to the PvP servers, and that hasn't been sent back. There are cases of small amounts of gold not being sent back. And we have no idea how deep this goes, because really we won't find out about everything and everyone and what exactly they did. But I know the PvP servers are old enough that this resource advantage is not going to be super significant in most cases, because you're not primarily after Asmodium on the new PvP servers in the first place. But still, I think it's very relevant when one of their primary goals would have been to revert these item and gold transfers, that didn't happen in accordance with what they were saying. If you appreciate this information so far, consider subscribing and clicking the bell, and if you'd like to support me further, you can do so on Patreon. On the other hand, there are also players that have been unbanned, who moved to other servers and were sent back, who lost the entire gold that they traded or sent somewhere else while they were on the other server. Not entirely clear how far this is intentional or not. I mean, the statement makes it sound like it's at least partially intentional, but I'm not sure if this happened for everyone. This is obviously very upsetting for those players, but in that case, I gotta say, I think that was a risk they were knowingly taken. So I can't feel too bad, especially when you consider that that goal is probably going to be fairly useless on most legacy servers anyways. The overall situation of how the bans were handled, however, is a very different deal. There were 3 phases of people being unbanned. As far as I can tell, the concept of how it was meant to be was roughly this. The first wave was mainly people who just transferred a character without doing any form of trades or anything, just moved the character over and kind of left it there. The second phase were people that did transfer a character and maybe traded small amounts, bought something on the trading post, sent something to somebody else, but nothing crazy, no major impact on the economy. And then in the third phase, they kind of weighed the options for the more egregious transfers. I don't know. It seemed that that was when they were looking at people who did larger trades that weren't previously unbanned and kind of assessing which one of those should be banned or which one shouldn't. I want to be fully clear at this point, there are some sources here that I can't verify to the same degree as others, because this is a field where people like to troll as well. There are multiple claims of people who traded significant amounts of gold on other servers, even on PvP servers, or did similar things like buying territories, that got unbanned. This is a claim I cannot verify. On the other hand, I have some very reliable sources who told me about what they did and how they got banned. and they got involved with the trade. What they specifically did was they moved characters from the legacy servers onto the fresh servers. Not onto the PvP servers, onto the fresh servers, saying my character is dead on legacy because there's not enough players in AP Southeast in particular, so I would like to be able to use the things the character has on the other server where everyone is playing now. And they traded, in some cases using the trading post for that, or trading with other players in order to get items to their other character. And those players got permanently banned, with appeals immediately being denied. The label they use for this is exploiting a bug level 5. Beyond that, there are other claims, such as people being banned for trading before people transferred and put gold into their company treasury, bans for trading in general, permanent bans, while the people who did trade to them were not permanently banned, and various other things that I cannot verify, but overall it seems like there are quite a few messy cases at least. But I want to focus on the confirmed permanent bans, because I think the outcome here is pretty insane. I said it before, I absolutely believe that there are scenarios where people deserve a permanent ban here. This is especially if they try to manipulate the PvP servers because they were brand new, so manipulating markets there would have had a much more significant impact, and especially buying territories as well. And if they had multiple offenses, meaning this was not the first time they were caught doing any kind of exploit. For multiple of the people who got banned, permanently banned, for moving a character from Legacy into the Fresh Start, not the PvP server, this was their very first ban. These were players that have played the game for years with 0 offenses so far, and they saw the opportunity to move a character which was allowed by the game systems at that point, and they got the highest amount of punishment that you can possibly get. Do you know what doesn't get you the highest amount of punishment possible? Using damage immunity exploits, using musket rapid fire exploits, using various trade and dupe exploits. Some of those things come with no punishment. Some of them come with 1-day punishment if it's your first offense. Some of them come with a month punishment. Some of them come with a year punishment but get lifted eventually. And from that perspective of applying some nuance to the situation, I feel like these bans feel completely disproportionate. Should people that were involved in trades on the Fresh Start servers after transferring a character get banned? Temporarily? Absolutely. 1 week? Absolutely. 2 weeks? Absolutely. A month? Sure, definitely. 2 months? Maybe. But permanently banned? I personally consider that way too excessive, and it's very clear that they're trying to set an example here after being so known for messing up with things like this in the past. They also once again make it clear that they have a massive bias towards trade, probably because it's easier to track for them. Why do I say that? Because you could transfer from the PvP server into another server with the PvP weapons, the Conqueror's weapons, use them in OPR, and you would get unbanned in the first ban wave as long as you're not involved in trades. Now, yeah, I know the Conqueror's weapons effects don't work on other servers, so it's not really that big of a deal. But if we're talking about gameplay exploits, you would think that's on a similar level. The amount of people hit by this in AP Southeast is absolutely insane, and I once again think that it's just extremely disproportionate and also clearly applied inconsistently between different players and what exactly their penalty is. These harsh punishments also completely fail to include any accountability from Amazon, who bugged this after a patch in the first place, and otherwise no one would have been able to do this. It shouldn't even be surprising to Amazon that people did the transfer from Legacy to Fresh, because a lot of people clearly expressed their frustration with being unable to use their characters that they've been using for years and years and years. At this point, the economic impact of merging those servers, especially on AP Southeast where we have way too many servers, would be so insignificant no one would care. Instead, people are now getting permabanned over it. Incredibly short-sighted. Knowing how many people on AP Southeast were affected because the bug happened at AP Southeast prime time, this is gonna leave some lasting damage on the region and make the game a lot less playable for the people who are still there. And just to be clear here, I was not among the people who were permanently banned. I got unbanned in the second wave. I just know a lot of people who are very passionate about the game and who are generally not exploiters that are now completely gone. I'm obviously extremely frustrated with how this was handled, though I do not expect them to change course on this, considering they instantly denied the appeals. Anyways, in the next days we'll be checking out the new OPR map, so if you want to see that, consider following me on twitch.tv/SLOTH. And if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and click the bell. If you'd like to support me further and get early trading tips, you can do so on my Patreon. Thanks to all of my patrons who I do exactly that, and thank you for watching. SLOTH, out.